Hello, my name is Qesheth, and this will be the first hopefully in a series of classes that I will be doing titled The Path of the Tarot, The Path of Return. In this series of classes, I will be talking about the Major Arcana, the 22 cards of the Major Arcana, starting with 0 to 21, 0 being the Fool, and 21 being the universe or the world. I'll be discussing the initiate's path of return. The first class in this series will start with the first leg of the journey from Malcooth, the physical universe, here, and rising up the middle pillar on the tree of life, entering into the world of the unconscious, Yesod, the moon. The card that we will be talking about, the universe card, the world card. The two cards that I'm showing today is from the Thoth deck, Crowley's Thoth deck, and Rider-Waite deck. There are many tarot cards out there, various tarot decks out there. These are the two I most highly recommend, but use your intuition, knowing that many of them do not hold true to the attributions on the Tree of Life. Each one of the paths of the Tree of Life is attributed to a tarot card and an element, a planet, an astrological symbol. The path that we will be talking about today is path number 32, the path of Taw. Taw is the Hebrew letter meaning cross or mark. It is said in the early schools of initiation that the initiate would receive the mark of the Taw cross upon their foreheads. This is the first path in your journey of initiation. The journey begins in Malcooth, the physical universe, where we all dwell. Many say it is the earth, but it is the entire visible, physical universe. It is the completion of that which was started in Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Ir, the three veils of negative existence that exist before Kether. The journey begins with the Fool, path number 11, card 0, and completes on path 32, card 21. The number 21 has very high significance in esoteric sciences. 2, division, 1, unity, and the return to the source, the 0, negative existence, or primal existence. Once manifestation comes into being to its full potential, it then begins the path of return. Every person will walk this path, whether consciously or unconsciously, consciously willing it or unconsciously at death. For those of you who are not familiar with the Kabbalistic tree of life and the Kabbalistic tarot, I would really recommend Robert Wang's book, The Kabbalistic Tarot. On the tree of life, there are two paths that the initiate may take on his path to return to the supernal triad. The path of the mystic, which travels the middle pillar, the pillar of equilibrium. But even traveling this pillar, the initiate must balance all the forces of these other paths in his personality. And we will discuss that as we go along. The second path is the path of the serpent. On this is the path of the magician who seeks to acquire knowledge and power as he ascends the tree of life. You will see that there are no paths directly leading from Qesheth or Gebura, order, and catabolism, or breaking things down, purifying things. These secret paths are revealed in other writings. One of those writings was a revealed book called Liber Legis, the Book of the Law by Aleister Crowley. Let me start out again by introducing myself. My name is Qesheth. I have been a student of the esoteric mysteries for over 30 years. I have studied with the Western Hermetic sciences, tarot astrology, various forms of paganism. I spent time with the Native Americans learning shamanism. I also spent many years studying the Teutonic mysteries of the northern peoples and the Celtic mysteries. I've just come here today to share some of the knowledge that I have. If you like this video, please like it. If you have suggestions for future videos or something I could do differently, let me know. I am not technologically advanced, so this is a pretty simplistic video. Hopefully you can see everything okay. Let us go on. The 32nd path is attributed to Saturn. Saturn is the planet of initiation. On the tree of life, the Sephira, is Binah. Binah is the great mother, the neshama of the soul. She is where the ideas, where the initial thought of Kether comes into Hakma, which is considered a male energy, the wand, and is projected into Binah. There, in the Temple of the Masters, all manifestation gestates, then explodes forth into creation. So this path is a reflection of Binah, where all of manifestation lies in stasis in Binah. Here, it is fully realized in all of its glory. This is the 32nd path on the tree of life. It is attributed to both Earth and Saturn, both very heavy energies. The initiate must, in most diagrams of the tree of life, you will see that Malcooth is broken up into 4 colors. These 4 colors are called the 4 gates of Malcooth. These are the 4 gates that the initiate must go through in order to be able to ascend. This path is the first path leading the initiate from consciousness, self-consciousness, ego consciousness, to universal consciousness, the first glimpses of the divine. Because within this path is contained, within Malcooth in this path are contained all the secrets of the manifested universe. What is it, the work? What is the work that the initiate must do in order to begin to ascend this path? You will see that on either side of the tree of life, there are other paths. This is the path of the moon, Qesheth, Pisces, a very dark path, the path of the unconscious. This is the path of the Aeon, or judgment. It is attributed to Shin, the Holy Spirit, the 31st path. This is an elemental path, fire. This is an astrological path attributed to Pisces. The unconscious and the conscious must be united in order for the initiate to be able to ascend. For this is a very dark and heavy path. There are practices that can help the initiate out, and they're offered by many mystery schools. This is where the initiate begins to do work in the physical realms. For this is where the foundation of the pyramid must be built in order that you may build the pyramid of initiation. In Masonry, it is the checkered floor of King Solomon's Temple, the EA degree, where you begin to unite all opposites within yourself. The moon being the unconscious. We must look deeply within ourselves in meditation. Everything that we do has an unconscious root. One of the first laws of any mystery school is know thyself. This first paths are the paths of the personality, of getting to know yourself. Matter of fact, this whole area on the tree of life represents the personality. This represents the thinking processes and the spiritual processes. But we'll go on to that as we go. This particular card symbolizes completion and return. You will see that the 4 cherubim are in the 4 corners on these cards. These are the 4 fixed signs of the zodiac. Air, fire, earth, and water. On Crowley's card, he has those reversed, and this is a very deep mystery, in which this class will not go into today. You will see that she is surrounded in both cards by a wreath or a vesica Piscis, symbolizing the vulva, from which all creation doth come from and return. The circle also represents completion. It's a vesica Piscis. These small quaternaries that you see surrounding her are the 5-degree divisions within the zodiacal wheel, again signifying unity. Here you see the active pineal gland. And of course, the serpent is the Kundalini serpent that is now redirected towards spiritual attainment instead of procreation. This is a very important point. The energy within us, the Kunda energy, the Shakti energy that resides within the Muladhara chakra, must awaken and be brought up the path of Sushumna. In order to do that, there are various practices of Kundalini yoga. Raja yoga is one of the superior practices for the initiate to begin with. So please pick up the book Raja Yoga by Vivekananda. It will be an invaluable tool to your growth. Also, book 4 by Aleister Crowley, the chapter on mysticism, is a very crucial study and will give you the practices needed to begin the mastery of yourself. Asana masters the body. Pranayama helps to master the unconscious, because breathing is conscious and you bring it to consciousness. Pratyahara, observation of everything that you do. Dharana is the mind, single-minded focus. Many people believe that meditation is the absence of thought, but more, it is the learning to fix the mind on one point. Here you will see in the Crowley deck, or the Crowley card, a hook, signifying Zadi, the fish hook, fished down by the emperor. In ancient depictions, there are depictions of an initiate fishing into the sea for Leviathan. There's also, in Norse mythology, Jormungandr. This is the serpent of creation, the serpent forth that flows through creation. So through our will, we are learning to redirect this to serve our higher purposes, instead of just wasting it in lust, violence, and procreation. The fishhook fishes the initiate out of the waters, none, which we will talk about in another class, and begins to pull the initiate up the tree of life. And again, the 4 cherubim represent the balancing of the 4 elements within ourselves. If we cannot master the elements within ourselves, we cannot master the elements outside of ourselves. The Golden Dawn had practices concerning the tattvas, the symbols concerning each one of these elements, that the initiate was to meditate on and fix in their mind. These are great symbols to start with for the practice of dharana. This path is called the administrative intelligence, and is so called because it directs and associates in all their operations and 7 planets, even all of them in their own due course. Now, administrative intelligence. This was what Bina would represent. The bringing together of the initial thought forms, or the unorganized energy of Hakma, and bringing it into organization, administering creation. The planets symbolize aspects of ourselves. This is something to be meditated upon, administrating the actions of the planets in their due course. The tarot title for this card is the Great One of the Night of Time. Kronos, who is also associated with Bina, was a god of time. Time is associated with Bina. Time is only a series of events which begins in Bina. The numerical value for the letter Ta is 400. 400, 400, 4 is also attributed to Qesheth. So there is a relationship between the building up here in Qesheth and the building up of the forms of Bina on this path. It is the first experience of the greater all. It is the Ama, or the Ima Elohim, the fertile mother. In the king scale, its color is indigo. Why is it important to learn the colors of these paths? Because as we begin to do path working, to know these attributions is most important. I would recommend Aleister Crowley's book, 777. The stone for this path is onyx. The plants, ash, cypress, hellebore, yew, and nightshade. The animals are the crocodile. The crocodile represents form-consuming spirit. The mineral is lead, which speaks about how heavy this path is to traverse. The tools, the magical tools for this path, are the sickle, the pantacle, and salt. The sickle has long been a symbol of Binah and is also seen in Crowley's death card, which we will talk about in a future class. The perfume is asafoetida, scammony, and sulfur. Some of the gods and goddesses, Nephthys, Athena, Kronos, and the magical power that one would hope to attain by traversing this path are works of malediction and death. But again, let me stress that the work begins in Malcooth, here in the physical world. We are not here to escape the physical world, we're here to master it. And that mastery begins within. The initiate must begin to balance his conscious and unconscious and bring them into unity, that he may begin to rise into the spiritual planes of consciousness. Again, this is the end of manifestation, the beginning and return, Alpha and Omega in the Greek. You see that in this card, she appears to be feminine. In the cards of the Major Arcana, the soul is always represented as feminine and the spirit as masculine. Remember to keep this in mind. The masculine is always represented by males, and the feminine energy, females, spirit, and soul. So here we are talking about the soul. The spirit is signified in Tippereth. Remember, she is the fallen bride. In Yod He Vav He, she's the final He that seeks to be reunited with the Vav, that she may return. We do not believe in the fall. The fall is just soul desiring to be manifested in matter. It is our own conscious choice. Many of the, it's kind of interesting, a side note, is that many of the images in Christian iconology about hell have to do with sulfur and brimstone. And if you'll remember what I said earlier, sulfur is attributed to this path of Tal, the path of the universe. So I kind of believe that the mystics of these ancient of the Christian traditions caught glimpses of this path. They were not able to rise upon it. They misinterpreted what they saw. This will be the recap of this class. Again, this is the first path that the initiate begins on his journey to ascend into spiritual consciousness. Various levels of spiritual consciousness are just levels of vibration, and in order to perceive them, you have to change your physical vibration to match them. And that's why people can't understand why they can't just go through life perceiving spiritual realities. It is because their vibrational level is very heavy and very locked into this particular reality. Their thoughts and their emotions are all tied to this reality. The initiate must begin to turn their consciousness, ruled by the emperor. And here on this path, which is Crowley's version, the emperor sits right above Yesod. Consciousness controlling unconsciousness, observing what's going on inside of us. An unobserved life is an unlived life. Malcooth 1-0. Again, the One has now come into full manifestation and will now return. Hope this class helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I know that I'm kind of slow in my speaking. I like to say things clearly and help you to understand that this path is the first path that you will begin to transcend. Once you begin to balance the four elements within yourself and bring them into harmonious balance, you will then begin to work with astral travel. Astral travel is the next step on this path, for this is the path of astral. Yesod, the moon, represents the unconscious, also where all forms exist, but not in their manifested form. It is the matrix of the universe. People who catch glimpses of Yesod say that it is like the framework of the universe seen here. I don't know if you can see that. In a Crowley's card, you see this framework, a basic structure of the universe. This is where the idea before manifestation resides. So when you reach to this level, you will perceive the workings of the machinery of the universe. Again, I am Qesheth. Thank you for your time. 93